didn't ask for any of this. Mark didn't ask for any of this.
Professional wrestling acts as a great representation for sportsmanship and entertainment, but it's also an industry full of hidden details that even the most eagle-eyed of viewers will miss. This rings especially true in the land of WWE, whose deep chest of secrets range from the meanings behind certain wrestlers' entrances to the choice in-ring gear worn by specific superstars throughout their career. No matter how hard WWE tries to hide these details, fans will always find a way to unearth the secrecy. Join us now as WrestleMania looks at 11 unnoticeable details in WWE. Be sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for daily wrestling videos and follow us on Facebook for exclusive lists. Number 11. Synchronized spots. Wrestling is full of secret hand signals. Like when Randy Orton claps, it's his signal to ensure the wrestler that they're ready to take a snap power slam, and these signals are done so fast that you'll barely notice them, as your mind isn't trained to watch Orton, it's the opponent. This is also the case when a wrestler slaps their thigh to sell a super kick. It's done with such precision that you'll hardly notice it. However, with others, the secret is staring you right in the face, such as when The Undertaker and Kane had to synchronize sitting up at the exact same time. It had to be done to perfection and both couldn't see each other's face to indicate it's time.
Now, I ain't gonna lie, when I was younger, I used to actually think wrestling was real. Like, I thought everything they was doing was 100% real. Like, it ruined my childhood when I found out it was fake. You know, I found out wrestling was fake probably around like 11 or 12 years old. I was heartbroken, I'm not gonna lie. In my mind, all these moves they was putting on these people was real. I thought these storylines was actually real. I'm thinking these people really hate each other in real life. But come to find out, shit was fugazi, man. But hey, it be like that sometimes.
Simply, Taker would nudge Kane in the ring with his hand to signal now. It was a cool moment that seems so obvious now, doesn't it? Number 10. The inspiration behind John Cena's original gear. Turning heel by the end of 2002 to become the Doctor of Thugonomics, John Cena adopted a new look that would soon become one of the most iconic in wrestling history. He rocked baseball jerseys during his entrance, eventually replacing these with colorful t-shirts that WWE could sell in the millions, and they certainly did. While for his matches he wore sneakers and denim shorts that affectionately became known as jorts. Like every wrestler who came before and after him, however, Cena had to find himself fashion-wise, which is why he began his career by wearing more traditional spandex shorts. The secret here is that John would correlate his trunks to the color of the sport team of whichever city WWE happened to be in. For example, his pay-per-view debut against Chris Jericho at Vengeance 2002, his red and white shorts matched the color scheme of the Detroit Red Wings, the recent winners of that year's Stanley Cup. While this form of attire may be the more conventional option for most wrestlers, John Cena couldn't wait to make the switch, having admitted to experience mid-match erections while wrestling in spandex. Not that wearing denim helped conceal his excitement though. Number 9. Kane tilted his head like Michael Myers. Given that WWE has always promoted itself as sports entertainment rather than professional wrestling, the ability to convey emotion is often more important to succeed at the top of the mountain than actual wrestling. Unfortunately, that ability becomes more difficult once you factor a mask into the equation, and for someone like Kane, whose original Attitude Era mask didn't come equipped with eye holes, it was nigh on impossible to express how he felt. Instead, the Big Red Machine used a subtle hell-tid to display his emotions, similar to that of serial killer Michael Myers in the Halloween films. But Kane actually got his inspirations for the quirk from a far more unlikely source. As he told Stone Cold Steve Austin on his Broken Skull Sessions podcast, it was Annie, that being Kane's dog, that spurred the mannerism. I would over-accentuate everything because I realized since people couldn't see my face, I had to rely more on body language. But it all starts with your face, so I was doing more facials under the mask. But probably like with that, the head tilt, I learned that from my St. Bernard Annie. It was freaky. I remember Bruce Pritchard telling me that you got more out of that head tilt than you would doing a 20-minute promo.
Wait, hold on, time out. So you mean to tell me his dog was tilting his head? I ain't gonna lie, I never had a dog a day in my life, so I don't know if that's a normal thing. Chat, y'all tell me, is it normal for dogs to tilt their head? Because the moment if I get a dog and it start tilting his head, I'm selling it. You know what I'm saying? I'm putting you up for sale. You gotta get out of here with all that demonic shit.
Again, he the Undertaker had the mystique, and no one quite knows what's going on inside Kane's head. And then you do the head tilt and everybody's like, what does that mean? Good or bad? Generally it meant somebody was about to get chokeslammed. Nonetheless, one day I was working with my dog and I noticed that she would tilt her head this way or tilt her head that way, and I thought that was pretty cool. I tried it, and sure enough, the audience reacted. Now, the process of conveying his emotions to the WWE audience would get a lot easier when Kane would ditch the mask, and it was one of the biggest reasons why Kane actually removed his mask in the first place. Number 8, Bianca Belair matches her lipstick to her ring gear. The evolution of wrestling attires from the plain black trunks and boots look that predated the golden era to splashes of color you see in the modern age allows wrestlers to better express themselves, and there's arguably nobody that does this better right now than Bianca Belair. The EST is well known for her flashy ring gear that she sews together herself, but there is a hidden trademark behind her look if you pay enough attention. She will always match the color of her lipstick to her tights. She's spoken publicly about how wearing lipstick allows her to showcase her femininity, with her late grandmother providing the inspiration for her bright lips. She believed that she was supposed to be this actress in Hollywood and that superstars wore red lipstick and sequins. So when I got into WWE, I was like, okay, what is a superstar? Lipstick and sequins. Number 7, the chicken taunt tells the locker room when a match is bad. There are several hand cues to learn once you become a fan of pro wrestling. Wrestlers grabbing each other or the referee following a big spot assures them that they didn't sustain any significant damage, while throwing up an X can indicate one of the two things. If a referee makes the sign, then that means that a wrestler is injured and unable to continue. While if a wrestler does it, like we saw with Brock Lesnar at WrestleMania 42, it means that the moment isn't part of the script. But then there's a strange signal known as the chicken taunt, which is used by wrestlers in the ring to tell the boys in the locker room that their match was a complete stinker. Having originated on the British circuit, there are two infamous examples of it being used in WWE, as Bret Hart mimicked the bird during a 1997 Raw match versus Farouk, while forgotten Ruthless Aggression era star Dave Taylor used it during a match in 2007 teaming with Drew McIntyre against the Nasty Boys. Number 6, Shawn Michaels chewed gum to sell strikes better. Now, all sports are going to leave you dripping with sweat, but unlike footballers and basketball players, being a pro wrestler involves getting up close and personal with your colleagues. As such, it's paramount that you maintain a good level of hygiene, with most wrestlers knowing to chew gum during the matches to avoid giving their opponent a whiff of protein shake breath, while also helping prevent their own mouth from going dry. But when it came to Shawn Michaels, however, he used gum to enhance his selling, as he would often spit out his chewed up slop after taking a big strike to the face to mimic a tooth flying out of his mouth. Several wrestlers before him and after him have also relied on this method to enhance the look of their matches, with Michaels himself having adopted the technique from Tully.
I seen a referee face. Look at how
on this method to enhance the look of their matches, with Michaels himself having adopted the technique from Tully Blanchard. Number 5, Xavier Woods holds the microphone like a wine glass. Wrestling is all about the finer details, and even something as simple as holding a microphone differently than everybody else will help you stand out. Such was the case for Xavier Woods. The former TNA star had been struggling to find his place on the WWE's main roster following his 2013 promotion, when in the summer of 2014, he was paired with Kofi Kingston and Big E in the New Day. It was here that Xavier Woods was finally allowed to inject a bit of his own personality into his own character, and as the faction's default promo guy, he began.
I ain't gonna lie, Xavier Woods, you look like my science teacher, my nigga, when I used to be in school. I'm not finna cap. Like, I was always wondering why he held the mic like that. So it helps you like stand out and stuff like that. I would have never thought. Cause I honestly ain't think that the audience really cared. I'm being honest. They care about what you say on the mic and your performance on the mic, but I ain't know they cared about how you hold the mic and stuff like that. I ain't know that was even a point of emphasis to stand out about.
The microphone like it was a fine glass of wine, though he eventually moved into holding it off to the side like an old-school boxing announcer, or given that description, Mr. Kennedy. This was the same approach used by Damien Sandow during his tenure as the intellectual savior of the masses, and helped him massively too. It's just a shame that Xavier Woods setting himself apart didn't lead to any great single success in WWE, especially as a follow-up to his King of the Ring crowning. Can you believe it? 16 years in the company and he never won a singles title? Number 4, Roman Reigns still looks to his left. Now, going back to a point from earlier in our list, the ability to express emotion will always reap greater rewards in WWE than being the best wrestler in the world. And there's arguably nobody on the current roster that understands this better than Roman Reigns. The OTC has always been a master at telling a story through his face, with the Bloodline saga providing exaggerated calls for WWE to receive an Oscar nomination, but Reigns' exquisite expressions continued beyond the saga's conclusion, and indeed beyond his association with Paul Heyman. Returning to WWE programming at SummerSlam 2024, sans Paul Heyman, Roman's subsequent appearances saw him constantly pausing at the ringside steps to look where his former wise man once stood, symbolizing his despair. This has continued even to this day, as Reigns once again paused to look for Heyman as he entered for his WrestleMania 42 main event against CM Punk. Number 3, wrestlers wiping their boots before they enter the ring. And although there wasn't and still isn't an official governing body for pro wrestling back in the day, wrestlers still had a strict list of rules that had to be obeyed, including shaking everybody's hand backstage, refraining from discussing money, and perhaps the most important order, buying a case of beer for the road. But also on this list, however,
my bad for pausing it, but I heard like if you new to the WWE, you gotta like clean up behind the veterans, I should say, in the locker room and stuff like that. So if you're new to the company, you gotta clean up behind them and you gotta bring them like beverages and whatever they want. I ain't gonna lie, if I was ever new to the WWE, I just wanna let y'all know I ain't bringing y'all shit. I ain't cleaning up behind y'all.
Rule that many wrestlers still follow today, wiping your feet before entering the ring. In 2026, it's predominantly European grapplers who still wipe their feet on the ring apron, such as Gunther, and during an episode of the Steve Austin Show, the Texas Rattlesnake explained why exactly it was imperative to dust your boots off before stepping between the ropes. It's a show of respect to the guy or gal you're about to wrestle, and showing respect for the people who are going to come after you and wrestle in that same ring. What you've done is trek from all of the dreadful bathrooms, through the showers, through the dressing room floors, down the way to the ring. Just beer, piss, germs like a mother effer. Everything you can think of is on the bottom of that boot. Another person who constantly used to do this was William Regal, and if you also notice in today's era, former women's tag champion Roxanne Perez does this. Number 2, the secret behind 2 supersized entrances. Now this is a 2-for-1 special here, as there are 2 super heavyweight WWE legends who have both had secret hand signals that they deliver during their entrance. First up is Rikishi, as the WWE Hall of Famer was known to rub his nose while walking to the ring. Becoming a noticeable part of his entrance once he became a popular act during the Attitude Era, his nose rubbing was to actually let his wife and children know that he was thinking of them. Similarly, the Big Show could be seen gripping his wrist 3 times in succession during his entrance in WWE, which was used to tell his second wife Bess that he loved her. And number 1, Ric Flair can't bump on his back because of a plane crash. One of the first things that you learn at wrestling school is how to bump correctly and safely from a front, back, and somersault takeoff, with many wrestlers subsequently taking these skills and expanding on the idea. The squared circle's more gifted athletes may turn their body inside out after being hit by a forceful lariat. For example, with the likes of Dolph Ziggler, they may contort their bodies in unimaginable angles to stand out from the pack. But the difference between those wrestlers and Ric Flair is that Flair didn't have a choice in changing how he bumps, more specifically, how he bumps on his back. Regular watchers of the Nature Boy will recall how he always landed more on his hip than he did on his spine when taking, for instance, a back body drop. That's because of some very real damage that was done to his back in the 70s. An October 1975 plane crash left Ric's back broken in 3 places, with a doctor informing him that he wouldn't wrestle again. Miraculously, of course, Flair defied all medical prognosis as he returned to action just after 3 months and went on to become one of the very best wrestlers of all time. But there you have it, folks. 11 unnoticeable details in WWE.
But yeah, that's going to do it, man. If y'all enjoyed that reaction video, make sure y'all like, share, and subscribe. This was 11 secret details in WWE nobody noticed. We about to get out of here, man. I ain't gonna lie. Some of these I ain't know about, like the like the Big Show. You know what I'm saying? Rubbing his wrist 3 times to let his wife know that that he love her. Like, I ain't know that. I ain't know about the X thing. I knew about the X when it comes to like, all right, that means the wrestler really hurt and they in serious pain. But I ain't know the X meant like, all right, this about to be off script type shit. Like, this not a part of the script. I ain't know that part. But I'm out of here. Make sure y'all smash that like button for your boy. And I'll see y'all in the next video, man.